What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and we're going to talk about something that needs to happen for the Nintendo Switch 2, the Super Nintendo Switch, Switch Plus, whatever you want to call it, and that is VR. And a lot of people think it's crazy for me to be talking about VR for the Nintendo Switch. Who cares about it? Nobody cares about it. But since I put them out until this day, my VR videos for Switch, specifically my Nintendo Switch VR videos, do very well. They are the most popular videos on my channel. Over 100,000 views for the first one I did, around 80,000 something for the second one, and the other one is climbing. I think it's around 30,000 or something like that. So you may not believe it, but a lot of people seem to care about Nintendo Switch VR and Switch VR for maybe possibly Nintendo Switch 2. And, you know, I looked at my analytics and whatnot, and people are searching for this. It's not like they luckily come upon my video. That doesn't happen on YouTube, not anymore. They are actively searching for Switch VR. And that tells me a lot of people want to have that for the Switch, and it makes 1,000 times sense. I'm gonna, you know, I've said this before, and I'll just reiterate it again, specifically for Switch 2, because Switch 2 is even a better option than, you know, our current Switch is for VR, and we'll talk about why. But yes, a lot of people want that. I'm surprised by it. Like I really love VR. I think VR on the Switch hasn't reached potential at all. And I think the Switch is just a perfect device for VR. Okay, first of all, why is the Switch a perfect device for VR? Because you don't have to buy anything extra except for, oh, it's over here, except for this little phone thing here, which is not going to be expensive. You can put this separately in a box. You can put this in a box with the Switch too, or you could put this separately and maybe put a game with it, you know, like they used to do with what was it on the N64, the expansion pack. Like the expansion pack games came with the, or the game, or I should say expansion pack came with the game. So you can do something similar with this, and you can make it a big thing, and put you know, where it's not going to be that expensive, 20 to 30 bucks tops, you know, depending on if you put a game in here with it. So this one here is the Oivo. Actually, Oivo should pay me some money because I have way more views on my video about this Oivo headset than Oivo company has themselves, and I should get some kind of kickback. But anyway, it's very simple. You just take your Switch. Here's my Switch right here. You may have to, no, this one will just let you slide it right in. Just slide it right in there. Boom. Done. Right? And instead of what Switch or Nintendo does, gives you that cardboard, and then you have to hold it onto your face, you don't have to do that with this. This is perfectly simple. You know? And I'm not going to tighten it, but you just put it on your face and boom. There you are. There's your VR option. Right? And it works really well. This actually has the same fidelity as the Labo does. I tried them both, and they look pretty identical as far as like the visual quality of it. And that's the thing, the visual quality. So we all know that the Switch screen is only a 720p resolution, which is not great for VR. But what we do know, or what we do believe anyway, from the leaks, is that the next Switch, Switch 2, NG Switch, whatever you want to call it, is going to be at the very least a 1080p screen, and it can upscale using what is it, DLSS technology, so it can do better. So if they want to make it a better screen, well, DLSS technology will help with the frame rate, not with the resolution. I mean, it could, but the screen itself has to be, the certain resolution has to be either 1080p or 4K. I don't think it'll be 4K. I think that's a little much. but I think it'll be at least 1080p. So there you go with that. But yeah, the better screen will obviously make for a better experience, or a better experience using VR for the Switch 2. And that's, again, the best thing about the Switch is that you don't have to buy separate hardware. You may want to buy a headset, obviously. I think they should put it in the box, but they won't, because it's going to make it a little bulkier, and logistically it probably won't be better to do that. But to have some kind of separate thing where it's $20, just a $20 thing, or $30, no more than $29.99 for something like this, their own headset. And this is a really good headset. There's some really bad ones out there. I think the first one iteration, because this is the second iteration of the Oivo, was not very good. This one is pretty good, and you tighten it. I mean, they can work on it and make it a little better if they want, obviously, but this fits really nicely. It's not heavy. It fits pretty well. Like, it doesn't feel heavy on your head. And that's important for long stretches. I played Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild has a VR mode. I played Breath of the Wild like this, using split Joy-Cons, and it feels like, pretty much any other VR headset you would have going on, like the PC ones and whatnot. And it fits really well. It feels really good. So, like I said, the Switch is the best option out there as far as VR goes, because you don't have to buy any extra hardware, right? You just have to have the mode in your game for the VR to work. And obviously, there's games out there for current Switch that have VR modes. Super Mario Odyssey has a VR mode. It's a little bit segmented. You can't play the whole game like that. I wish you could, but you can't. That would be awesome. But you can't. And then Breath of the Wild, funny enough, has a complete VR mode. You can play the entire game in VR, and it works really well. So, and there's other games. Obviously, there's a VR Labo stuff, which is really cool. And I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a VR mode as well, or some VR stuff in it. So, this is stuff that Nintendo's been dabbling with. And I constantly, all the time, still get comments on my videos about how do I turn on the VR for this game in Switch, or how did I, that kind of stuff, because people just don't understand that the game has to have a VR mode. I get comments all the time about Five Nights at Freddy's, and why can't I use the VR? I can't get the VR to work in Five Nights at Freddy's. I get comments like that all the time on these old videos about Switch VR. Because there is an audience for it, Nintendo. People want VR for the Switch. I'm curious to how well this video is going to do, because like I said, all my previous other VR videos do well. And again, I think the Switch 2 would be a great device for VR. Just think of something like the Quest, the Meta Quest, right? It's not. I don't think it's probably not even as good as the PSVR 1. It's probably somewhere close or somewhere around there. I don't know what the Quest 3 is, but the Quest 2, I think, graphics-wise, is nowhere near like a PS5 or anything like that. But you don't need that to have a great experience. I enjoyed the PSVR 1 a lot, and that's all you really need, or even a little bit under that, to have a cool VR mode. And Nintendo could implement VR modes in a lot of their games, if not all of them. But you could also obviously make games for VR. So you'll have the best of both worlds. And Nintendo needs to push it, right? They have to, have VR modes in most of their their bigger games and whatnot. And I think people will happily buy a standalone peripheral, I guess, add-on to enhance their VR. They don't need this, obviously, but this is the best way to play VR, is to have a headset and not have to hold it to your face like the Labo did. Go all in this time, Nintendo. I think there's a market out there. People are searching for Switch VR. There's a lot of people searching for Switch VR because they want this to be a thing. And it's so easy to implement into the Switch because it's already there. It's already that device that you can put up to your face None of the other manufacturers can say that. Sony can't say that. You have to buy the console, and then you have to buy the super expensive, well, it's not super expensive for what it does, but it's an expensive add-on, right? So you're talking over $1,000 to play VR on your PS5. Microsoft doesn't care. They are not touching VR. I kind of understand that. I wish they would, but I kind of get it. As far as PCs go, you got to have a pretty solid PC, and then you have to go buy the headset. Freaking Valve's headset is like $1,000, right? And it varies depending on the quality and what you want. But VR is so cool. Like, it is very cool. And what is it, Star Wars Squadrons, I think it's called, with the VR. I can't play that game. The game, you can play it without VR, but to me it doesn't make any sense to play that game without VR. It is a fabulous experience in VR. And just look at the PlayStation 4. There's many games that have VR modes that are not specifically VR only games, right? I can think of like Ace Combat, and No Man's Sky has a VR mode, and Resident Evil 7 has a VR mode. So there's games that have modes that you don't have to go crazy and make the game around VR. You can just put a mode in there, and that is a cool incentive for somebody to rebuy a game. If you want people to rebuy games, with remasters and whatnot, this is a way to remaster games that is compelling, and you can put that in the box, and you can put that on the box and resell that old game, for full price even, So, and as somebody who really loves VR, I would rebuy a lot of games, specific games that I think VR really would work in. Mario Odyssey would be beautiful in VR. It'd be fantastic. I played the what's the little robot games for PlayStation, the VR. I can't think of the freaking game right now. It's one of my favorite VR games out there. Astrobot. The Astrobot games are fantastic in VR. One of my favorite platformers. I said in the video, it was like the Mario 64 moment playing that game in VR. Astrobot Rescue Mission, I think it's called. Fantastic in VR mode. It felt like that same feeling, that wow factor of playing Mario 64. So Nintendo, you need to implement VR for Switch 2. It is a perfect device for that. It's low cost, high concept, which is what you want in marketing. Low cost, high concept. That's what you want. And it will be a cool thing, a cool addition to the Switch 2 to help it sell even further and just give it an even cooler, side market. And I think it will be a significant market because, again, the hardware comes with the Switch. You just buy a Switch and you just buy a $20 to $30 foam headset. This is very comfortable, by the way. It is very comfortable on my face. So yeah, that's what you got to do, Nintendo. Do it. Switch VR 2, Switch 2 VR, whatever you're gonna call it. Make it happen. All right, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Nintendo should implement VR in the Switch 2? Like I said, I think it's a perfect device for VR. I know there's a lot of people out there don't get VR. You gotta try it. It's the only way. You can't watch a video about somebody using VR. It doesn't work. You have to try it yourself. It is an amazing little technology that I hope continues to grow and grow and grow. More games use VR modes and whatnot. And I think Switch 2 would really benefit. Super Nintendo Switch, whatever you call it. Whatever. Switch NG, next gen Switch. Do it. Just do it, Nintendo. This would be really awesome. All right, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I really want to get your feedback, and I want to see how this video does. If it really is what I think it is, people loving the idea of VR for the Switch. All right, let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening, and now, see you fools next time. Peace out.